Hey everybody, welcome to the weekly collective reading. It's good to see you. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and Apollo is in the background sleeping. And today we're going to be looking, as always, at the next 7 days. When we do these weekly collectives, it takes us from Sunday to Sunday, and it helps you navigate all the opportunities in front of you. Here's the overarching format for today. We always begin with channeled messages first. Channeled messages, of course, me tuning into my meditation, my dreams, and also my guides, and pulling it all together to help you navigate from a large umbrella sort of point of view what's coming through in the week ahead. Then we'll get more granular with the 7-day forecast. There's a lot of other pieces, including a special topic, but we'll get into those as the reading progresses. A couple of quick notes before we begin. First and foremost, hit that subscribe button if you're a first-time viewer, or if you've been watching a long time and you just want to stay connected. Opt into bell notifications as well. While I'm in this sort of interim mode between apartments, this is going to be an important way to make sure that you don't miss something. You can also join me across social media, where I put a reminder anytime that I do new content or new videos. And if you'd like to show some love and support in real time, you can do that through Super Chat, Super Stickers, and memberships. Thank you so much last weekend to everyone that was really patient and flexible, as we had some tech issues with YouTube. It's all sorted out today. But basically, there was a lot of folks that gifted memberships, and I have now enough members that I'm going to start to do some member-specific videos. More to come on that, and I'm super excited for that milestone. So thank you to everybody that made that possible. One quick note, remember that I don't give private readings and I don't use direct messages across social media. So please, if you see anything like that, ignore that person, let me know about it, and stay safe, folks. All right, let's move on to the channeled messages, which are two parts this weekend. We're going to be taking a look at the dove and the comet. Doves I had seen both in dreams, and then also just as I was walking the dog, I kept hearing them. And so they're a beautiful beginning to our messages today. And then we'll talk about the comet, which is kind of like the activation of what the doves want to bring through. So first things first, let's take a look at the doves. This particular totem is all about movement. There's actually even more than I put in this slide, and I'll cover what's in the slide, and then I have something else that I want to say before we go to the next one. So first of all, if you're wondering the difference between pigeons and doves, it's really just size. They're part of the same family of birds, so we're going to group them together, and for the sake of keeping it simple, I'm just going to say dove. But basically, let's talk about the words a little bit. Dove comes from a Germanic root, which is talking about the ability to dive in flight. And so for many of you this week, you may decide to dive into something, to take action, to activate something. And that's actually part of the second totem today. The other piece is about the vocalization. So pigeon comes from the Latin word Pipio, I think, basically, which is about the sound of the chick when it's born. But also, if you've ever listened to doves, they make a lot of noise, right? Sometimes you're sleeping and you can just hear them cooing in the background. And even that Stevie Nicks song, right? Just like the white-winged dove. So, you know, they find their way into our heads, into lyrics. They're all over the place. But what's cool about them is they get your attention. And you have the ability to grab other people's attention. There is, though, just like the dove cooing, there is a point where you want to make sure that it's not repetitious. So I would say state your intent, get in, get out of a conversation, and then try not to kind of get in that grating energy of saying the same thing over and over. Because if someone's not ready or willing to listen to you, we want to follow the card on this one, the Six of Swords. It's time to move on. Because the second piece of this is all about movement and maneuverability. So one really cool fact is that doves can maneuver in mid-flight and change direction. It costs them energy, but they can do it. And they have, again, the ability to dive as well. So suffice it to say, if we were to combine the strengths of this particular totem, there's only really one weakness, but the strengths so far comprise the flexibility to move in multiple directions, to dive into something, to spread your wings and try something different, to vocalize as well and be heard. The only potential flaw with this so far would be in repetition, or maybe in saying things in a way that just the timing could be off as well, okay? But otherwise, I love everything about this, and I also like this decision. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when you're ready to move towards something, to meet a person, to meet an opportunity, or to say, you know what, I think I've done everything that I need to with this particular thing, so I'm gonna move on. So movement is the key thing, but there is a secondary note of like flexibility and vocalization. Let's move on to the next slide here. Peaceful resolution. We actually see it featured right here in the Ace of Cups, the dove hovering above or flying in or diving right into that Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups representing love, overflowing love, unconditional love, passion. The dove itself is a symbol in many religions for God or the divine or for peace. And it makes its way into a lot of other sort of everyday symbols as well. You'll see it on crests and other things like that. I see it as a key basically here. Forgiveness and peace are cosmic keys for achieving happiness. If we hold on to a grudge, if we hold on to anger, if we hold on to regret, those are the lock basically that kind of hold us back. But forgiveness and peace and tranquility kind of allow us to open that lock and get past it and push through. And that's what we see here in this card. Now is the time for a peaceful resolution. If you've been having difficulty with a person or something in your life and you just think to yourself, how am I going to get past this? The first thing I say is forgiveness always begins within. So sometimes we beat ourselves up and we think, gosh, if I only would have done this or this, if I would have spent my time more wisely, if I could have seen the warning signs. All that's important is that in this moment in time, you are awake, you are aware, and you are now deciding, I'm going to do something about it. Remember the previous slide was about movement. Now you're ready. You weren't ready to activate until this moment. The heart had to open up a little bit. You had to melt that energy of holding on to something like the Four of Pentacles. In this moment, it's finally releasing and relaxing, and now you're ready to move, and that's all that matters here. Forgive and love yourself. Call in and accept it when it happens. It's hard to accept it when we actually face-to-face meet that unconditional love, but you have earned this unconditional love if you're ready to receive it. But Ace of Cups is probably one of the pivotal cards that I look for in a love spread to make sure that someone's ready. Because if they don't have this, the overflowing energy, then they're going to be looking for someone to fill up that overflowing energy that's not there. So we always want the Ace of Cups upright, and that means that you're ready to receive. It's the satellite dish, or it's the arms open wide saying, bring it on. All right, the next message here is about your ability to channel, and basically the act of creation is an act of divinity. And I think if we looked at it that way, art and music programs in school wouldn't go away, because our ability to do something that isn't sort of like rigid and expected helps us go beyond the barriers of the physical. Not only that, but I actually believe that your artistic ability is going to be so important in expressing a possibility. So you're going to basically see it and feel it, maybe hear it, whatever it is that's kind of coming to you as a channel, as a medium, as a creative person. You're going to sense it before it is in the environment, because you're being given this leadership or this moment to kind of stand out this month and this week. But what you're going to have to do is find a way to express it or convey it. And this is where the creative side will assist you. And as I said here, creativity is a form of divinity. And so just go into what feels very authentic to you, and then maybe use art, music, or some other creative exploration to show it to someone else. And a lot of times a fictional sort of escape or abstraction can help someone because they don't have to just look at what's in front of them. So anyway, creativity not only is going to help connect you, but it could also help plug someone else into what you're trying to say. The quote that I pulled here is actually from the book that I wrote a few years ago, which is "Magic is a new truth waiting to be discovered." This is another way of explaining what I just talked about, which is when we don't understand something, it seems mystical or scary or magical. After years and decades go by, we start to apply knowledge to that, and then what once seems sort of way out there is everyday knowledge, is something that we can totally wrap our heads around. So if it feels good and it feels magical and it's working, move into that energy, because one day that's just going to be practical. It's going to make sense. So again, I feel like many of you are ahead of the curve right now, and you just shouldn't judge yourself too much. Find where other people are in that same sort of advanced state and move with them as well. I put at the bottom here to see it and then be it. So I really want you to follow through on your visions. I encourage you to do that. Elevate your thoughts, and if you're around people that are limited or around spaces that don't allow for that elevated thought, then you need to move to a place where you can have that elevated thought of I can, I will, I am, or this is possible, or why not. Any of those sort of energies are going to help you achieve on your potential here, which is what I really want you to do. So have fun with the creative side of yourself this month. The High Priestess isn't just about, you know, seeing the future. It's about seeing the possibilities too. And then you decide what to do with that. Adaptability is something else that I'm seeing here. We're still talking about the energy of doves here. So doves have adapted to almost every sort of part of the earth possible here, from trees to savannas to grasslands to deserts to woodlands and basically even barren sands. They can, and we see them in the city too. For those of you that dwell in urban areas, you've certainly seen these birds there. So they, like the Fool, can kind of just travel wherever they need to, which I love. And what it tells me for you is that if you've been thrown into a situation where you're like, I don't have my tools, or I'm out of my comfort zone, or I don't know anybody, you're going to be okay. And the Fool is one of my favorite cards in tarot because it reminds you that you don't need everything that you think you need. You don't need all the tools. You don't need all the fancy clothes. You don't need to know everybody. You just need this and this connecting, your heart and your head and your third eye as well, and just allow yourself to move one step after another. Travel lightly, let go of stuff. It often gets missed here, but the Fool is carrying the white rose of death, which is saying, I'm letting go of the past. I've transformed, and now I'm something new. I'm more than I thought. I don't need all of that. I'm letting it go. So there's freedom in transformation. There's freedom in release, and the freedom is coming through here. And once you feel free, then you're adaptable and you're able and sort of flexible to do anything that you need to do. And we talked about the maneuverability of the dove. It's coming through loud and clear with this. So leave the anxiety, leave the fear, leave all of the sort of trappings behind that aren't allowing you to move forward, and you're going to feel this sense of kind of like freedom, basically, right? So let's move on to the next slide here. It's basically opening you up to an ace. I'm choosing the Ace of Pentacles here because it shows the best sort of illustration for a seed. It's nascent, it's latent, it's possibility, basically incarnate in this card, but you have to do something with it. A seed won't grow unless it's planted and watered and meets the right sort of like conditions. An opportunity or a possibility is the same way. You get an idea, you get an offer on the table, but it requires acceptance, action, and movement. And that's basically what all of the previous slides were building up to. So now we're talking about a comet, by the way. So let's back up a little bit and talk about this. So a comet is an icy, small solar body, a solar system body that when passing close to the sun, it gets a little faster. Something that I didn't know about a comet. I always try to find something new when I'm researching a totem. So basically, once it gets closer to the sun, then there's outgassing and you see the beautiful comet tail that we've come to know. But other than that, it's like an icy rock that goes around the sun in a very elliptical and erratic orbit often. It's the activation period that is what caught my attention. The closer it gets to the sun, the faster it moves. And for many of us this month and this week, we're going to be looking at how can I get motivated? And what you realize is sometimes, just like the previous slide, just taking a few steps begins the momentum. But the other piece of this is going to be the solar energy, which we'll talk about in just a moment here, which is going to help you move even faster. So here we go. Comets have elliptical orbits. The closer they are to the sun, the faster that they get. Finding the spark in your life can help you find the speed, but also remembering that you can be the sun, you can be the light, you can be the source of that. That's going to be the really powerful piece here. Your momentum will pick up the minute you take a step in any direction. And when you start to work your passion, when you start to believe in something, and when you start to just sort of like put energy into it, then everything starts to fall into place. If you're waiting for something to happen, maybe it will if you're a good manifester or if you're very lucky. I believe in synchronicities, not so much luck, but you're so much more powerful at manifesting if you actually put energy into it. So be the sun, be the source, don't chase it. A lot of times we're looking for that hero in our life, right? But you're the hero for your own life, for your own project, for your own path. And that's really the message here. Be the sun, don't chase it. Quick review, and then we're going to get into the 7-day forecast. All right, so The dove or the pigeon was teaching us a few things. First, that you're flexible, or you have the capacity to be flexible, and that flexibility will open up movement in your life. There's a chance to let go of something peacefully. There's a chance to open up your heart so that you can receive more. Unconditional love and forgiveness begins within first. Creativity is a connection to the divine, and it may also be a necessary piece to help convey something that you're picking up on. See it, then be it. Something that seems magical one day will be practical, so go with it. Even if it feels like it's outlandish, it's exactly what you should be working on. Adaptability and flexibility and maneuverability are common themes in the totems in this particular week. The Fool reminds you that you don't need everything that you think you need, that it's just enough to be present and to give it 110%. Just be all that you can be, and let that be enough in the moment. You don't need to have all the fancy tools and accoutrements that you're used to. And finally, the comet is reminding us of this importance of activation and potential that comes with that activation. And that as we move closer to something that's passion, that kind of like makes our passion grow, then we move faster. So connect with people, connect with opportunities, and then maybe you just have to create and be that sort of inspiration for others, and they're going to move towards you. You can be the sun in this situation, okay? So that, my friends, is everything in a nutshell when it comes to the totems this week. I love the dove, I love the comet, and I love what they're showing us for the next 7 days. To that end, we're going to get into the 7-day forecast. Let me see which cards are calling to me. I think what I might use for today is we're getting closer to Halloween, so I'm going to use the Everyday Witch deck because it's kind of fun, and like I said, it's very October-y, so we'll use that for today. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next 7 days and see what the messages are. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you here. So glad you could take some time and be with us today. All right, so a card for today, for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and let's look at a couple for next weekend, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, let's get the cards arranged so you can see everything, and we'll begin. All right, so let's start with today. So we have Justice here. And Justice is really calling you to decide what is it that you stand for, what is it that you want, and where in your life can you work to create the balance necessary for this to happen. Justice also stands for doing the right thing. So for some of you, there may be a situation that deserves your attention. You may feel like something isn't going the way that it should. Maybe an agreement needs to be met. Someone hasn't fulfilled their part of it, so you're going to hold them to the agreement. You may also decide that you're done with something and you're looking at what's necessary to release it. A decision is necessary, and this card really represents that balance and that decision. Today, focus on balancing everything out in your life, your finances, your personal life, whatever is out of balance this week in general. You're going to try to make a plan to bring better law and order into your life, however that might shake down. What I like about Justice is it does show that you're in a favorable position on Sunday to get something done the way you want it to get done, and to right a wrong, or to bring, like I said, that balance here. The only thing that may be a little bit difficult or heavy for some of you is that you have to make a decision sometimes. What is it that you want? That's really what the cosmos is coming through and saying today. Let me know what you want. Let me know what you're going to do about it. Then I can support you. So there is a decision that needs to be made today, and then that's going to help you out. So to break it down and what you can do if you're watching this live today, get out your schedule and basically start to figure out, what am I going to do at the beginning of the week? What do I need more of? Who am I going to talk to? So today's a good day for planning. Plan things out, and again, if something needs to be done, if you need to negotiate, Justice Upright is a great card for negotiation. So keep that in mind and decide if you're ready for that. All right, let's look at the cards here and move on to the energy of Monday. So we have Temperance here, which is a nice, slow and steady beginning to the week. We see a yoga pose here. So for some of you, again, that planning energy may move into Monday just a little bit. And the most sort of challenging thing for some of you might be on how to get yourself or others to take action. Temperance is a very calm card. It's a very introspective and contemplative card where you're thinking about, what is it that I want? How am I going to deal with this? It's a nice, easy entry into the week. But if you need a decision, someone may be dragging their feet a little bit, or they might want more information. So be patient with yourself, be patient with others. And we see her here with one eye closed and one eye open. So for some of you, there is that sense of, when is this going to start? When is this going to happen? Are we done yet? So try to be as present as possible and take a break. If, when we do receive breaks in our life, sometimes we worry, like, is when's something going to happen? I'm not so worried for you because I see a lot of pages and nights this week. So I would say on Monday, enjoy the lull while you have it. Take some time to continue to balance and sort things out. It's a perfect day for meditation. The only thing missing in this card is the angel, which is normally in temperance. So you're being guided. So today, wherever there's a block, don't worry so much about that. Where there's an opening or where there's inspiration, that's where you want to focus your energy. That's where it's going to be most receptive. Let's go ahead now and move on to the energy of Tuesday. As we take a look at Tuesday, we have the Page of Cups coming through. What a great card for you, because pages are mediums. Even if they're not shown as the High Priestess, they are mediums. They are right between sending and receiving. They have to do a little bit of both. They have to listen, they have to speak, they have to translate. And here's the cool thing. What is this page doing? Basically using artistic expression, as I talked about, to convey what it is that they are trying to get across. So your nonverbal skills, your ability to use visual aids to show rather than tell, that's going to be really important. That also means that when you are communicating, how you are basically holding your body and basically what's showing on your face, that's going to be just as important as the words that you choose or the tone in which you're speaking. So really pay attention to how things come across visually on Tuesday, and that's going to be really important. As we look at this page card, there are a couple other things that strike me. First of all, we see that this page has rolled up their sleeves and they're not afraid to do the physical work, which is important. They also have all these different colors on their shirts. So basically they're painting with every color in the palette. When you're discussing things, make sure that you are taking into consideration all the different points of view, that you're not limiting the way that you're expressing yourself for fear of being received, that you're really being open. An open listener, an open communicator, and you're finding that middle ground between, maybe like a very stringent way of doing something and a new idea that's out there. So you're being asked to kind of help people find that middle ground as well. So there's a lot of opportunity on Tuesday for you to both receive, to convey, and also help move people a little bit closer. So I think it's a great day to have important conversations, to move the needle forward, and also it's a good day for social activities. We're going to connect this to Wednesday in just a second, but Page of Cups, great day to go out. So if you're single and looking, even if you're in a relationship, this is a really good day to deepen that connection or to establish a connection. For those of you that are single and happy or retired and not really focusing on relationships as much, because maybe you're widowed or you just are not interested in that right now, I would say the energy around this is very good for networking and socializing. So no matter how you slice it, the page likes to be around other people and is really good at networking. So if there's anything that you can do to further something along creatively, collectively, or socially on Tuesday, it's going to be a really good day for all of the aforementioned. As we get into the midweek, we actually see a return on this. So this is you putting an offer out or someone putting an offer to you, and then we see something moving forward, and now we have a Knight of Cups. So this tells me that the energy is really, really good for Tuesday and Wednesday for partnership. Partnership does not have to just be love. It can be friendship, it could be business, but these are definitely very good partner cards. What I like about them is they're close in rank. I don't read gender in the court cards, I just look at the rank. A page and a knight are very good and very kind of fun energy too. There's a playful energy with these two. They're the younger of the four court cards. Now a knight is willing to get out there, sometimes physically moving on the street, or walking, or taking a plane ride, or picking up the phone and talking to someone. You have to sort of do the movement, make that happen, be the initiator on Wednesday. it will be well worth your time. And if you've been waiting and wondering like, what day should I go and have a face-to-face conversation, if you didn't do it on Tuesday, you should definitely do it on Wednesday. The Knight of Cups is also about making sure that something feels right. I always like to look at knights as having a code of conduct, right? King and queens, they kind of work for themselves. Pages may not have as much power as the other cards. The knight is a little bit more of a free thinker and also is willing to fight for what they care about, or they champion someone else, a king or a queen sometimes. But they have free will and they use it, and they are more active than some of the other cards. They're the ones that you always see riding on a horse, right? So you have this potential to really push something in the right direction, and you are being seen as that mover and shaker. One thing that I would say here is sometimes you feel like you're always the one that has to save the day. So make sure that you're doing what's right for you, that you're not cleaning up someone else's messes. That's the only sort of warning that I would give for Wednesday. But, you know, this week is off to a good start. This is nothing dramatic, maybe just difficulty in getting someone to commit to something initially, but we quickly see that turning around on Tuesday and Wednesday. So a gentle start, a passionate midweek. Now we have some things getting interesting here as we look at Thursday and Friday. Let's focus on the energy of Thursday. Don't be surprised if somebody asks you for something or expects a return on a favor, or they ask you for payment, or they want something. A knight reversed is coming through and saying, okay, I can do that, but I need this. Or we discussed this earlier, where do you stand on that? So for those of you that are in school, this is like a pop quiz or a test, or it's a teacher checking up on you. For those of you that are mid-career, mid-life, this is something where someone may be coming through and saying, hey, we discussed this, it's time to check in. For like careers, this could be talking about your path. Your boss could be checking in on you and saying, you know, earlier this year we talked about this. It's time to sort of have like a grade and see where we're at, performance, you know, sort of reviews. You may also be looking at something thinking, I don't have what I need. I need a loan, I need some support, I need some resources. So you're either going to be in the position of asking, or you might have someone coming to you asking as well. This can also represent a day where you decide to take money or time or energy from one area and put it into something else. I think you're on the right track, because when we look at Friday, we've got the Ten of Pentacles. Also reversed, it's saying that you don't have to do this alone. Both of these are showing outside resources coming in, rather, and that you can ask if you need it. But let's finish up on Thursday and we'll talk about Friday. The main thing here is make sure that you are taken care of. Whenever I see a knight, a king, or a queen reverse, it's also about saying, I'm going to make sure that I slow down. Knights reverse need to slow down. So if you're doing too many things, or if people are asking too much of you, slow down and ask for a breather and focus on making sure that you're going in the right direction, doing the right thing, and that you're feeling good about this. This is a chance to do a minor course correction that will save you a ton of time later. So if you need to double check something, take a nap, or get someone's feedback, wait for that first, then take the next step. Rushing forward isn't always more effective, doesn't always save time. You want to be cognizant of that and be mindful of the expenditure of time and energy with respect to that. All right, as we look at Friday, it's a great day. Ten of Pentacles, I'll take it upright or reversed. There are a couple considerations with the reversal, but let's talk about it in the upright position first. This is showing me that you are very much connected to opportunity. Ten of Pentacles is resources. It can be marriage, it can be contracts and business, and it can be money as well. The reversal of this is showing me that you're in high demand, or again, that people could be very demanding of what it is that you can supply, and you have to have good limits. You have to know what's possible. So if a boss is asking you to work the weekend, if a friend of yours is asking you again and again for different things, but not necessarily showing up and reciprocating, this is about setting boundaries and saying, I can do this much, or I'm exhausted and I need a day off, and I'll regroup with you on Monday or whatever. So setting those boundaries and knowing when enough is enough. This can also be pressure to achieve. So for those of you that come from a very traditional, strict, or just very vocal family where they want a lot, this is also them coming through and putting very high expectations out there for you, or maybe even you're doing it, And this is about making sure that that bar is not so high that it's putting constant pressure on you. So be realistic, be supportive, love yourself. Again, as we talked about in the slides earlier, make sure that you forgive yourself for any missteps and realize that there are no mistakes in a lifetime as long as you are learning from them. You don't ever fail as long as you're applying those lessons and growing. It's all part of your curriculum that you set up for yourself, you know, your higher self set up before you entered into this physical experience. So ultimately, this shows the ability to achieve the Ten of Pentacles, which is support, resources, also agreements and contracts coming to fruition, and it can also represent friends and family. So all of those things are around you. It's just a matter of you seeing yourself as a worthy match for all of that, and then also being willing to stand up for yourself, which was really the lesson that we saw here on Thursday, saying, I need a little more of this, or you need to take a step back and allow me to finish. You're finding your happy medium between making everyone happy and making sure that you're also happy yourself. When we're looking at business and contracts, I actually see these both as good days for talking about money and getting someone to sign something. But the fact that they were reversed means that one party's trying to get a little bit too much. So your job is to bring it closer to even, because we want both sides to feel like they're either making a profit or getting an even exchange. And that'll be the only challenge as we're looking at the negotiations that may be a part of Thursday and Friday. All right, let's move on to Saturday, and we have the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups in reverse. So there's a lot of messages around limits and boundaries. So we had people here maybe asking you for time, energy, or money. We have people here that may be also continuing with that, asking for a little bit extra when it comes to love or when it comes to obligations. This can be your family pressuring you to do something, to go to a certain, maybe it's a wedding or it's some sort of a family engagement. You may also feel called to be of service to others, because this is definitely doing something for others, not necessarily for yourself. The card reversed is making sure that you are loving yourself. However, my job as the reader here is to help you find some of that balance or to see it from a different perspective. So I would say with these two cards reversed, again, looking at resources and contracts and money, now looking at family and friends and obligations, you clearly are loved, respected, and in high demand this particular week. But I would say take care of yourself. Go to the things that make you feel really alive and happy. Remember, you're not necessarily just chasing inspiration, you're also being inspired, as we were talking about with the Comet Totem. So do something that fuels you up as well, and find people that want to connect with you. Not always, you're not always chasing that. So I think that's one other message that's coming through with the Ten of Cups. Accept that when people do come knocking on the door, this could be shyness. I very rarely read it as this, but for those of you that aren't used to attention or may not be used to getting someone that's interested in you, you've earned this interest, whether it's in business, in love, or both. The universe is basically saying with this, you are worth it, you are worthy. And so one of your mantras this week is, I am worthy, I accept the opportunities, the abundance, and all that is coming through in my life in this moment in time, with appreciation, with gratitude. And if you do that, I feel like there's more to come. What you can do with this energy on Saturday is to further develop a relationship that already exists, basically take the relationship and deepen it, or you can establish a relationship if you've been looking to connect with someone and the timing has been off, or you just feel like you haven't connected. I feel like you have a great chance to get to know them a little bit more and to break the ice. It's a good day for people and for networking. Even if you're single and happy, or if you're not looking to put energy into relationships, again, there's a lot of social cards this week and a lot of interactive cards. Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday and Saturday. It's all about people and getting messages to and from people. So I feel like this is a very social week, no matter how you slice it. The only day that is challenging is next Sunday, a week from today. So you have a lot of time to deal with this prior to that and possibly kind of like move this all together in another direction. But let's talk about what's coming through for the next, like 7 days from now, I would say. So the Five of Pentacles is all about your self-worth. And I feel like we got the tests of that self-worth with Friday and Saturday. But this is sometimes feeling like, why can't this person see me? Or why can't I get what I deserve? Or why isn't that person listening? And sometimes it's because you deserve better. That person isn't ready to, maybe they're not deserving of your time and energy. It can also be with our own insecurity or our own willingness to accept less than what we deserve. So this week is all about, we're going to do a little mini review here. So if you work on it today, I feel like this card can completely slide out, and by the time we look at it next weekend, it's gone. But justice is deciding where you stand and if something's good enough for you. If you decide to go in a different orbit, this card can disappear completely. There may be someone that's coming through with not enough time or energy, not enough commitment, or there may be someone who's not giving you what you deserve. Oftentimes this shows up in work, like as a boss, it's not giving you the proper payment for what you've been doing. So make sure that you feel like you're getting what you need, that things are balanced. This is also balancing time and energy. Patience is going to be tested Monday, but the hard work that you're doing and the patience that you're able to exhibit pays off here in the midweek. We have Pages and Knights occupying the 3 center days. On Tuesday, it's all about expressing your thoughts, making sure that you're being heard, and also making sure that others are being heard. On Wednesday, it's about bringing the needle forward and making sure that that you're not just sort of sitting and waiting for something to happen, that you are the one that is picking up the phone, talking to others, making sure that they're also doing their part, but movement is really a part of Wednesday. Thursday, you're going to ask for what you need. You're going to make sure that on both Thursday and Friday, that what we're talking about here, that you're not giving away too much, that you're vocal in needs and expectations, and that you're asking for clarity maybe in other people's as well if they're asking for too much. Balancing out the scales, seeing yourself as equal, that's going to help push this card out. Ultimately, the 2 10s that we see in Saturday and on Friday and Saturday are very, very good. 10 of Pentacles, business, 10 of Cups, people and friendships and relationships. Basically, we're seeing you showing up as someone that people want to sort of spend more time with and actually maybe take more from. So that's where you have to make sure that there's an exchange. It's 50-50. This card also has to do with healing and healing wounds from the past, oftentimes from childhood. It also has to do with healing lower extremities, knees, and ankles and feet. So you want to make sure that if you have any sort of previous injuries, you're taking care of that. When you're walking on the streets, particularly if there's inclement weather, that you're careful that you're not going to slip. I've been talking a lot about not multitasking, keeping your phone in your pocket and focusing on what's around you. But ultimately, the 5 of Pentacles usually has to deal with wounds from the past. And when it comes to money, this is a day to make sure that if there's any debts, they're paid. If there's anything that does not meet your expectations, that you advocate for, like I said, more like the 6 of Pentacles. There needs to be more than enough, not breaking even or less than breaking even. Let's go ahead now and move on to blessings and blocks. Just like it sounds, blessings are going to focus on things that are going to move the needle forward, get you in the right position, and blocks are things that you're going to have to pay attention to and possibly move around a little bit. Let's go ahead and clear up the cards here so that we have some room on the table. I'm just going to arrange them so that we can see everything. And then we're going to move into, like I said, blessings and blocks. All right. So for this, let me see which deck of cards is calling to me. I think I might use Little Prince. We haven't used that one in a while, and I know you guys like that. So Little Prince for the blessings and the blocks. Blessing and block. All right, so we got 2 reversals for this, but let's break it down. Again, for blessings and blocks, we're going to start first with the blessing, and we have the 9 of Cups reversed. 9 of Cups typically is a very positive card. It indicates a period during which your passion, your enthusiasm, your ability to see the sort of silver lining is going to really pay off. When the card is reversed, it can show that there is an extreme. Perhaps a punctuated high or a punctuated low. Someone could have come in and you were having the best day ever, and they say one thing and it deflates you completely. What you want to do in that perspective or that situation is to remember that that is just one person's opinion, and we can't give them that much power and that much ability to shift you out of this really good orbit. I talked about in the past, I had this teacher that I helped in a summer enrichment program. I volunteered my time and I helped him out with teaching. It was just fun. I thought At one point, I wanted to be a teacher. I still kind of am, but I'm teaching spiritually instead of English instead. But anyway, I spent a few weeks helping him with this class, and one of the important things that we did together was look at all of the critiques. So when it was done at the end of the 2 weeks, he said, let's read the reviews and let's see what people said. And he wanted to show me that it wasn't going to all be good. And it wasn't. It was 98% great. And there were a couple people that said some cruel things. And he said, don't let it bother you. He said, there's always one person. We can't reach everybody. And he said, I want you to celebrate all the hard work you did, all the people that you helped, and how much you helped me. And I was like, wow, that really set it into perspective for me, that it was, you can't please everyone. I would even say this, if you're doing something important in your life, let's say you're making a significant shift socially, politically, policy-wise, more likely than not, there's going to be a lot of pushback because you're an agent of change, and change agitates people. People want things to be predictable. They're not always comfortable with things moving forward. So maybe some of you need to hear that. You're doing a great job. Focus on all the work that you've done. Look at the roses behind that are growing. There's always going to be some thorns, but you're doing something beautiful, and you want to focus on taking with you that feeling of accomplishment and fulfillment, and understanding that there's always going to be one naysayer in the crowd, okay? This is also saying that if you're feeling a little bit emotionally distraught, that's okay too. We can't constantly be at a 10. Sometimes we have to even out or bottom out energetically, because that gives us perspective, that helps us understand when things really are good. So if you're having a not so good day, lean on someone. With the 2 10s that we got this week, the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups, that tells me there are resources and there is love in your life and support in your life that is there. All you have to do is be willing to say, I need some help. So this is your chance to lean on someone, reach out to someone, and let them support you the way you've supported them so often, okay? There's a lot to love, and it's okay if you need to ask for support from others. The blessing is knowing what you need and being able to articulate that to someone else. Not everybody can do that, but definitely this is a time for you to be in touch with your emotions and not to be beholden to them. Instead, to understand how the high and the low is actually a blessing, because it shows you what you want and what you don't want, okay? So that's your blessing, is that you're in touch with your emotions. Your little bit of a challenge with the 9 of Cups is not to let them rule you, not to get too carried away with the highs, not to get too deflated with the lows, and not to let one person take you from that upright 9 of Cups into a reverse 9 of Cups. All right, moving into the block, we have the Moon card in reverse. The Moon card is one of the key cards to intuition. Like, it's basically the primal intuition that we're all brought into this planet with. Even if we don't have a really activated third eye, we typically have a sense of what's right and wrong, or what's good and bad, and we know what to avoid. The Moon card indicates the instinctual side of ourselves that's there for survival. But it also shows the things that we aren't ready to see just yet. In a traditional card, you would see something, usually it's a lobster coming out of the water. And there's also the temptation to get distracted between the dog and the wolf. And so your opportunity right now is to focus on what's calling to you, not to worry about pleasing everybody, not to worry about what might happen if you do something wrong, or if someone judges you or sees you for all of your flaws, because they're also going to see you for all of your strengths. So don't get in your own head too much about fear in general, okay? What I like about this card, if we look at it upright, is he's reaching for the moon, he's reaching for the stars, and he's going to achieve that because he's keeping his sight on what's possible. Ultimately, the moon is an illumination symbol. It's reflection as well. And it isn't the source of light. You are, because the moon doesn't shine. And I remember what we talked about in the channel messages, be the source of light or illumination. Let's go back to it for just a moment, because it's an appropriate message in combination with this. So the final slide that I covered in the channeled messages was be the sun, don't chase it. And what, the moon is a satellite for the earth, but it still has that energy of chasing something. So if you're looking for increased motivation, momentum, speed, or guidance, the main message here is for you to go within and think, what makes me shine? What lights me up energetically? I need to put more energy into that right now. I can't be afraid of what might happen, if someone doesn't see all the potential or understand it. I have to trust that this is exactly who I am, what I stand for, and what I need to do in this moment in time. Okay? Let's go ahead now and move into the elemental forecast. This is the only part of today's reading, by the way, that is going to be sign specific. Everything else that we're looking at is going to apply to anyone that's present. But I'm going to break this down and look at fire, earth, air, and water. Fire, earth, air, and water. All right, beginning with my fire signs, all the Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius out there. What a open card this is. The Knight of Cups in the upright position would be highly creative, highly receptive, able to basically make anything happen. We talked about that. It was coming through at the midpoint. The only thing that's challenging all of my fire signs out there is a fixation on something. So this card was reversed. So that means that there needs to be something that leaves or exits your life right now, or that you need to recharge. But what I'm seeing as the key sort of challenge to that would be that cup right over top of your crown chakra. So there's a person that's occupying a lot of real estate there. There could be something that you're really hoping to see happen. And the law of detachment is going to be your best friend this week. So if you can focus a little bit less on what that person does or how this thing comes into your life, focus a little bit more on the things that are more in your sort of like general vicinity, something that you can have a tangible effect on, then that person, place, or thing that you want to come in is going to be more attracted to you energetically. So letting go of the real estate, the thought real estate that you're giving to someone or something is going to be really key to your general happiness. You may also be in a part of your life where you've been giving a lot to others, maybe to your family or to your partner, or maybe you're still kind of letting go of someone or something in your life, focusing on grieving something. So this is saying, you're going to let this part of your energy, your heart. So many of you, it's either your crown chakra or your heart that's feeling overwhelmed. Do what you need to do. It's going to be different for each of you, but do what you need to do to heal the heart and to clear the head. So we talked about how powerful creative endeavors can be, like art. So you can absolutely use that right now. You could talk to someone, a counselor, a friend. You could also distract yourself with something creative as well to sort of clear these channels out. Some of you may just need a good laugh or a good cry, and you're feeling a little bit more vulnerable this week. It's okay. The good news with this is ultimately you're going to connect with the upright energy, which is saying, I am worth this, I am lovable, I am capable, I am creative. Get into that sort of energy of the Knight of Cups and focus on releasing limits, fixations, or fears. That's all you have to really work with. This one is definitely connected to the moon card that we saw with the blocks here, which is hiding from me as it fell on the floor here. But the moon card is basically trying to show us all of those things. The reversal of the moon is saying, it's okay to let it go. Don't worry about it. It's going to be better than you think. And that's the main message here for all of my fire signs is ultimately you're going to open up to that creative energy, which is then going to bring in more love, more opportunities, and more happiness for you. But you've got to work through the fears, the fixations, and whatever it is that you're holding on to. Release is the big word of the week, and when you let it go, you hold space for something better. Okay, that's fire. Let's move on to earth signs. This is going to be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. You have a beautiful card of leadership. The Queen of Wands not only is the boss card, but she's great at manifesting. She embodies magic as well. We can almost see, if you get really close, you can see the little black cat there. What I love about this is her ability to go between different bands of energy or bands of light. So your strength this week is not just in sort of like inspiring others, but it's going to be pulling at otherwise disparate or separate people and saying, let's get together on this. You are the glue this week in bringing things together. Don't underestimate your leadership potential. Don't be afraid to say what you want. You have a really good chance of manifesting it, and a really good chance of bringing it into fruition. The cat on this card also indicates second chances. So there's a little black cat. So if there's something that you had sort of a challenge with, possibly just didn't succeed at it before, what you really have this week is a chance to jump ahead and get a second chance, a ninth life, basically, right? Because the cat has 9 lives. So you're coming back and you're doing it better and you're surprising people, and it's kind of like the phoenix rising from the ashes. So believe in second chances, believe in your leadership potential. Don't be afraid to pull at 2 different sides that may otherwise not get along, and you are actually that glue in between. You just need to take care of yourself, because that's a lot. There's a lot going on here. So I would say anything that you can do to refresh, to relax, and to also delegate to other people. That's what a leader does. So if you're taking on a lot for others, don't be afraid to say, hey, I need some help with this. Or again, like we were just talking about with the other signs, to let go when we were looking at fire. Earth, you also have the ability to let go of stuff too. Good leaders, they know exactly where and when to kind of roll up their sleeves and do stuff, but they don't try to do everything. That's why you have a team. That's why you have people around you. So delegate. I think that's the sort of hidden piece with this that sometimes is hard, because the Queen of Wands thinks she can do everything, that she has to do everything, but she doesn't. So I would say be willing to lean on others and let go of things. That's one common thread that I'm seeing so far across many different signs this month, and this week rather. All right, let's go ahead and focus now on the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. You have an opportunity, and it's a blessing in disguise, to see something that's not worth your time. The 5 of Swords represents a person, place, or thing that you realize, like, I can give 110% and it's still not going to be enough. And I think that sometimes knowing and seeing that, it's still a blessing, even if it's kind of like a pain in the rear to deal with. It's okay. All of these cards come through to help you. So let's talk about how the 5 of Swords can come through energetically. As a person, it's someone that you can't make happy. Sometimes this is our mom. Sometimes this is a boss. Whoever it is in our life, they tend to be someone that you look up to, or we perceive that they have power. But here's the thing. You are your own person. You're working really hard and doing a lot in your life. And as long as it's enough for you, as long as you can go to bed at night and think, I gave everything that I could today, it's enough. There are some people where they're always going to want a little bit more. Don't beat yourself up, and ask yourself why, for those people that are experiencing that kind of energy, you're giving so much power to this person, okay? This is a chance to reset and think, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to focus on what I need, and I don't need the conditional love that they're giving me. I want unconditional. Because if someone's in your life saying, if you just did a little bit more, if you were more like this person, or if you could just change this part of yourself, I'd love you more. That's not who you need to be focusing on. There could also be someone in your life that won't listen to constructive criticism. So this is someone who's not doing what they should, but they're not accountable, they're not receptive, and when you talk to them, they're already thinking of the next thing to say or how to counter it. They're not receiving. So if someone or something in your life isn't receptive to your energy either, this is a blessing, because you know that this isn't worth it. There's always a chance with the 5 of Swords to cut your losses and move on. Same thing with the 7 of Swords. So this particular week is opening up a chance for you to let something go that just isn't receptive, isn't worth it, and that's a good thing. For you, it's also a reality check to just make sure that you're open-minded and open-hearted. So if there is something coming through and there's a constructive element, even if it's hard to take, maybe you just listen to it and say, okay, I'll think about it, rather than kind of like immediately meeting it with bristling sort of words or anything. So I think this is just about being open-minded, open-hearted, and making sure that whatever you're putting your energy into, it's receptive and it's worth it. The last thing here, and this is the most difficult, most important, but for all my air signs, I know you can do it. It's about rising above. So we see this person rising above these 2 people, above the swords, and it's really about making sure that if there is someone that isn't showing you the respect that you deserve, or isn't showing up the way that they need to, that rather than meeting them in a low energy, you're going to meet them in a higher energy, or you're just going to move on. And that is going to be rewarded, because people are going to remember you as being professional, as taking the high road and not sort of taking a low blow. And that's going to be important, okay? So communication this week, you want to be really clear, and you want to treat people the way you expect to be treated. And if someone doesn't give you the respect you deserve, just move on, okay? Ultimately, all of that is going to help set you up for success in the days and weeks that follow. A slight challenge this week, but because you're so good at communication and seeing things from a bird's eye perspective, you're going to be able to navigate that with this sort of professionalism and come out winning. I believe a lot of times you can come out ahead with this. We do see this person on top of all of this, so you'll be okay at the end of the day. All right, let's move on to our water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. 7 of Pentacles came through. So there is patience that's a necessary piece with this, recovery, growth, and basically getting ahead. You can't take shortcuts. You have to learn from previous experiences. Also with the 7 of Pentacles is a gentle nudge to not overextend, because a lot of times it comes through as a test. And if you push too much, if you spend too much, if you don't allow for enough contingency or padding, what happens is you end up kind of being in a place of lack or of debt, or it just ends up not being worth the expenditure of time and energy. So take it slow, be realistic, say no when necessary, and don't overpromise. This is a time to really make sure that if you commit to something, you can come through with that. And when it comes to recovery in general, whether it's financial or whether it's your body, you're giving yourself enough time to really heal and to take care of yourself the way that you need to. Okay? All right, let's move into the special topic today. I'm taking a look here at the numbers. It was so close. By a very thin margin, we have Ace of Pentacles, advice for work, career, and life purpose. That's what won. I'm talking like 10 votes, folks. It was very, very close. And this was with me adding all of them up together. Basically member votes, which can account for like 2 votes, and then Patreon votes as well, plus the general poll. So I hope that more people vote in the future, because only less than 1% of everyone that could vote on the channel voted. So a very small amount of people, just maybe like 2,000 people total, make the decision for the weekend collective. So if you ever wish that another topic was chosen, make sure that you go to that community tab on Friday night and cast your vote, okay? Because I would love for even more people to participate. All right, so let me go ahead now and stack up all the cards here, and we'll get ready for today's special topic. I like that we're taking a career focus, since we had the 10 of Pentacles, which came in, and the 10 of Cups. So I think it was actually really nicely aligned with energetically what was already coming through. All right, let's turn the camera down and see which deck is calling to me. I think we may use the Wild Unknown for today, just because I want something with some nature totems in it. So let's see what the cards have to show, and let's focus on, again, the Ace of Pentacles, advice for work, career, and life purpose. All right, let's move these cards out of the way while we're doing that. All right, here we go. All right, we have 2 catalyst cards today. Let's talk about what's coming through with those. Whenever I get 2 cards, I like to break them down. We have one presenting or obvious thing, and then we have one that's coming through as something that's more subtle or beneath the surface. The obvious piece here is that there is an instinctive part of you that knows exactly what you want. The animal to me represents instinct, represents primal urge. It's just like the moon card. When we looked at the moon earlier, it did come through reversed, and I believe it was in the block, right? But wherever it came through, it was reversed, and that was it, not paying attention to what it was you needed to do or what it was that you were feeling. This card is saying when it comes to the area of life purpose and career, it's going to be really important to trust your instincts. I'm looking exactly how I titled this, Ace of Pentacles, advice for work, career, and life purpose. So it's across the board. Basically, if there's anything in your life that you feel like, I really, this is where my passion is, this is what I need to do, then listen to the instinct. You can see it, you can do it, and you need to trust that part of yourself. The boldness will be rewarded because we notice also the eye here. It's almost a human eye looking at it. When people look you in the eye, when it's time for you to do something that you want to do, they need to see that there is conviction and commitment and belief in it. So I talked before about like when I needed to give notice many years ago now, it was like 2015, but I had to do it 3 times, and each time I had to say it with conviction because they were not sure that I was sure. But when they saw how sure that I was and how completely clear that I was that I needed to make a turn in my career, they let me do it. But it was so odd. I was getting a lot of pushback and a lot of pressure. So I had to look people in the eye and say, this is what I want. Yes, I'm sure that this is what I want. So people are going to make certain that you're certain. So find that place where you can be very clear and you have the conviction and you are able to state that. And that is going to be important. And for you to get there, you have to trust your heart. You have to trust what you know. A lot of times we feel it here before we can say it here. So talk to someone that you trust and that you love and that is going to be supportive so that you can find the confidence that you need. All right, let's look at the card beneath that. So we have the river. So interesting that that you're actually going in the right direction because we can see the upright horse here. When it's reversed, sometimes we are looking at other people and we're seeing, oh, look at how much further they are, or look at how, if I'd only done this, I would have been further along on this journey. This is saying that's just an illusion. If you actually turn it upside down and look at it from a different perspective, you see that you're right where you need to be right now. The river represents emotion, represents, sort of where your heart's at. And sometimes we just let it run wild. We let it go away from where it needs to be. And this is about making sure that you're not going down the path of regret or of fear or of anxiety. And instead, you're going to take it towards the path of hope and inspiration and basically trusting how you feel and what you see. It's going to bring you in the right direction here. So look at something from a different angle, and this is what the universe is saying. Yes, perhaps had you done something different, you would have been in a different direction. But think of it this way. Because now you know exactly what you want, exactly who you are, and you're willing to go the distance for it, maybe you can make up for lost time, but at the very least, you're going to really embrace this moment more. People who achieve success after a period of challenge, or if they achieve success later in their lives, usually they can sustain the success more and they can enjoy it more because they realize what it was like to have something different, whether it was challenges or loss or disappointment. That creates this context that will help you sustain and be successful. And so suffice it to say, you are where you need to be. Don't look back with regret. Look back instead with context and make every moment from here on forward, or onward, I should say, count, okay? Let's go ahead and look at the cards here. All right, so this is the opportunity when it comes to basically bringing in your life purpose and your power. We've got the Emperor in reverse. The Emperor is all about ownership, empowerment, and basically taking control of your life. So for some of you, you may have been living in the shadow of someone else who seemed almost bigger than life. I love that we see this, like very tall tree here. So for some of you, this can be your parent or parents. It could be an older sibling, or it could just be someone in your life. maybe, you know, a public figure or celebrity or something, you look up to them and you think, oh, how could I ever be like that? So this is, first of all, realizing that you're not living in the shadow of anybody. You are your own person, and this tree took a while to grow. So we talked a little bit earlier about the Seven of Pentacles and how growth and success and empowerment, for most of us, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And if we take a shortcut or if we push, it sometimes is just going to end up in burnout, or it can end up in disappointment. So you don't want to do that. Take your time. Every step that you're taking is bringing you closer to what we see in this Emperor card. And we want the strong roots that are going to hold us up through so that you can weather any storm, okay? So again, I feel like there's a timing message that's coming through for many of you, which is you can't rush things. It takes time for things to grow, and you're exactly where you need to be. Now, the Emperor reverse can represent someone in your life that comes in and makes you second guess your capability. So I'm here to kind of reinforce the message from the cards, which is you have got this. You can do this. You have what it takes to lead, to manage, and to take the reins back and be in control. But you may have to stand up to somebody. They may come and question you, like we said here with this, and say, are you sure? Or you're going to look someone in the eyes and say, in this moment, I'm done now. Enough is enough. And you're going to reclaim power. So the first message for success with regards to work, career, and life purpose is reclamation of power, and the understanding that it takes time to get where you want to go, and you're not going to kind of like freak yourself out too much when it comes to how long that will take. Instead, you're going to focus on one step at a time, and understanding that it's so powerful just to make a decision and to state that decision. And remember what I said about earlier, when a comet goes closer to the sun, it travels faster. The more you get into your power, into your light, into your inspiration, the more things naturally speed up. Momentum will find its way to you. Don't force it, okay? But this is the release of giving your power, your energy, or even your thoughts to someone else. It's saying, I now reclaim that, and I'm going to use it in a different way. Some of you might need to uproot yourself and transplant yourself somewhere else. So this can represent crossing the world, which is movement, travel, expansion. This is what wants to come through. This is what's crossing the center card. So in this moment in time, the universe is saying, I've got something bigger for you. This isn't all there is. This person, here, we'll turn the camera back down. So this is the opportunity, but this is the block for the opportunity. So this is saying bigger, better, brighter, expanding. This is someone that wants to contract or hold. And we actually see that with the Four of Pentacles here. I'll pull the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card in just a second, but many of you know that that's a person that's holding on to a coin. And so this is about release. So with this is one of the best cards, by the way, for money and work and learning. It's saying go big, go even bigger than you think you can go. This is about publication, dissemination, distribution, travel, expansion. It's going beyond the borders. Some of you may need to leave where you're at in order for this to happen. So if it's school, maybe you're going to transfer to a different school. If it's a job, maybe you're leaving one job and either doing something on your own, because we got the Emperor at the center, or you're going to do something at a different place with a higher title. And for some of you, you're going to open your mind to something that you never imagined possible, a career path, a love interest, a place that you're going to live, a new language, no limits. Open things up as far as you can. That's going to be the first message, is to go bigger and to be expansive with thoughts. It's in complete sort of like struggle with someone in your life that wants to pull you back down to earth, because they are afraid for your just general sort of future and happiness, etc. So let's look at the traditional Four of Pentacles to give this a little bit of context while we're talking, and we'll go from there. While I'm doing that, let's focus on deep past. So we have the Hermit card coming through in the deep past, one of my favorite Hermit energies here. One thing that's cool with the Hermit, in this one, we see the capacity to protect yourself. So this is telling the person that has the Four of Pentacles energy, they don't need to worry. You can take care of yourself. You have that hard shell that we're looking at. So remember that if someone in your life is worried, can you shoulder the burden of this opportunity? Here we go. Can you handle this? You're going to come through and say, I absolutely can. So this is what's coming through in the crowning position, what might be weighing heavily upon you. This illustration does a good job too of showing how that can hold you down, these rubber bands, right? This person, we can see how they're holding on in a limiting way, thinking this is all there is. What if this is all there is? And basically the World card at the center and this very capable Hermit card here is saying, no, you've got this. Here's what's cool about the Hermit, and this is why you're going to be okay. The Hermit sees something also before someone else. They go inward, they find the internal light, and they wait for their moment to shine. And eventually that lantern becomes the brilliant star, but you may be the only one that sees the potential of that right now. So don't worry. Don't worry if someone else lacks imagination. Don't worry if someone else just can't understand how this will work. That's their lack of imagination, not yours. That does not indicate your trajectory. Don't let a projection of fear or a projection of capability inhibit your potential. This is one of the most powerful cards in the major arcana because it represents understanding one's own power. I would say with the Hermit card, I mean, to me, there are several cards I look for spiritual growth and development. The Hermit and the Star are definitely two of the top cards. They come much later, obviously, after Magician and High Priestess. So there's much more internal knowledge. For some of you, you might even be receiving kind of like past life flashbacks coming through, or just this inner knowing that if I do this, great things will happen. So trust in that. As we look at recent past here, we have the King of Swords in reverse. So one of the big opportunities in this moment in time is action, taking action. And the King of Swords is outspoken and action-oriented and basically doesn't waste any time getting to the point or getting something done. So because this is in the past, because this is an opportunity for many of you, the big thing that you can focus on right now is to avoid hesitation and to not be afraid. I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but not be afraid to put yourself out there and say, I'm interested in this. Or would you like to do this? Or asking someone out, or just basically putting out the intention so the universe knows exactly how to show up. This is also about writing it down. So for those of you that have been thinking, what is my life purpose? What can I do? Have you ever thought about teaching, writing, or instructing, or somehow kind of sharing or imparting your experiences on others? Through whatever medium, through whatever channel feels right for you, because this is someone who has a lot to say, who people are interested in, and ultimately who uses their voice, uses their platform, or uses their story to inspire others. There may be this sense internally of shyness or fear or doubt, like, does my story count, or is this good enough if it's something creative? If that's the case, remember that this is a time for expansion, not for limitation. And it's a time to own who you are and really kind of go out there. You've done the work. You do have something to share, to show, to sort of be worthy of this sort of connection that we're seeing here. So don't hold back. And that brings us to the crowning card and the big opportunity, I think, during this period of time. So the Four of Pentacles. This is a beginning, not an end. Any previous limits were basically just showing you that maybe that isn't where you should be focusing. So there is something in your life that you're ready to let go of, but there is sort of a little bit of fear, like what if this is it, or what if I let go of this and nothing else shows up? So let go of that thought process or that sort of thought pattern, and instead see this as a foundational card, depending on how I put this. You could see this as the four corners of a room, and basically what you've accomplished so far is just what you needed to begin the journey or to establish a firm foundation. Let go of that as the only thing. And imagine, or this could be your homework assignment over the course of the next few days here, but you could think, if I could have anything that I wanted, if the universe could surprise me with something amazing, what would that look like? What would I do? How would I approach that? And start to just open your mind to dreaming, to putting things up there on the blackboard and seeing where that leads you. The other thing with this is not accepting less than enough. So historically, if people came through and basically gave you less than what you needed, then now is a time where you're basically going to say that may have been enough in the past, but it's not anymore. And then you're going to, just like we saw with the King of Swords here, state the intention. This is what I need. This is what's necessary. And you're going to step away from what we see next, which is not being happy with something. The Three of Swords comes through ultimately to show you that a present situation needs to be resolved, because we look at near future and environment. The devil is in the environment. The answer to this is right here, freedom, Six of Swords. And then we see really great cards on either end. So there is a limitation in the environment. It could be a limitation in resources or in someone that's holding you back. This is a card of control, by the way. So there may be someone that's having a hard time letting you move up, letting you go in the direction that you want. And you may be afraid of hurting that person's feelings. Again, as we look here, this can be someone that you care a lot about. We have two divine masculine cards. So it's either someone that identifies as male or just has a very sort of controlling energy. And what we see here is that it's time to release that for some of you. For some of you, this could just be your own limitations, because the devil can represent a limiting thought or pattern. So you're just going to let that go. You're not going to be afraid of disappointment. You're going to think beyond all of this. And then we see really good cards after that. But let's break it down card by card. First things first, we're going to focus on this. This is coming through in the near future. Three of Swords represents an opportunity to heal and an opportunity to move past anything in our life that represented a period of disappointment. One thing that I would say for you with the Three of Swords is to understand what your heart wants and what your heart doesn't want, and to know at the end of the day, living a life that doesn't allow you to be happy, no matter what the outcome, that's not going to be satisfactory. So if there's someone in your life that expects you to be something that you're not, the main thing that I'm getting for you is encouragement to let that go. A lot of times, not always, but a lot of times that comes in the form of a family member, usually a parent. But if not, it could be someone else in your life. A partner can also play that role, where they expect you to step into a position or a role that just doesn't suit your energy. So you get the chance right now to release that. So even though this is the Six of Wands, it reminds me a lot of the Six of Swords. It's one of the things that kind of drives me crazy in this deck, but I actually get a little bit of both with this, which is through release comes success. So let's take a look at that earlier slide so that we can compare and contrast. So this is basically saying that you have more flexibility, that you can spread your wings, that you can move on if you need to. You can do so with peace and with grace and with dignity. And in doing so, you connect back with source energy, right? And moving on can be very freeing. That's why we got the butterfly here. And then you get to activate and get back to source. All of these things come through. Actually, there was one last card I want to make sure I show this one too, which is then you ultimately become the light that we saw here with the Hermit. The Hermit is either the star or the sun, because the sun is a star as well. But you're finding that internal light source. So in order to do that, many of you have to accept that this isn't good enough, person, place, or thing, and that in order to do what you need to do, you're going to expand and possibly move away from the limiting thought or the disappointment. Some of you, this could be a job. You're just tired of it. It could be a career path. It could be a partnership. It could be a parent. There's someone or something in your life that represents completion. It's not that they're bad or good or anything of that nature. It's that the lesson that you signed up to learn, you've learned the lesson. So people and places and things come through to teach us. The good news for you folks is you've graduated from one of those lessons in your life. And all that waits, all the universe is waiting for is for you to understand that there's something better that's waiting for you after this graduation. Again, I'm choosing to read this with both the energy of the Six of Swords and the Six of Wands today because it reminds me of both. And so success awaits, but it requires movement, and that movement is difficult because you have to let go. So this could be losing someone that you love. This could be letting go of something that you're very attached to. It could be a job, a title, a place that you're living, etc. And sometimes we want to, these are two cards that show holding on. This is a card that is all about kind of chaining yourself to something, and this is about holding on to something. And so the main opportunity right now is saying, if I let go of this, what if there's a better dream or a better option or a better person that awaits? Sort of my eventual sort of acceptance of that. So I see what looks like a block and something much more beautiful on the horizon waiting for you. The challenge and the opportunity and the place where you're going to shine right now is being able to get away from what's coming through in the environment, which is a limit, and to rise up to see what's possible. If we look at the traditional devil card, any devil card really, except this one because we just see the goat in this one, but typically you'll see chains, and the chains are representing limits that we put on ourselves, society puts on ourselves, and maybe the other person in a relationship might place on you. And it's basically not so much about that guy, it's about unshackling this. So letting go of the limit right now is the main thing, and letting go of the rejection or the fear of rejection. That's going to be the big opening for many of you right now. That's where the aha comes, like anything's possible. And even when I was scrolling through TikTok yesterday and I saw this clip of Dolly Parton, and she was saying, you know, I'm not afraid of failure. She said, as long as I'm trying, I feel like I'm winning even if I don't achieve what I set out to do, because I'm still going down that path. I'm still chasing my dreams. So I really like that. And I think that that's something that we can all learn and live by, that, you know, there's nothing wrong with not maybe accomplishing what you set out to do, as long as you keep trying, as long as you keep dreaming and pushing and learning, because eventually stubbornness usually wins and you get what you're looking for. It just may not be at the time or in the shape or the form that you thought. Okay? So release the limitations, release the fear of rejection, and focus instead on owning your power and leading the charge and believing in magic, because that is what the Queen of Wands believes in. This is a card of leadership and one of the key things that we're seeing here. So let's go back to the question of the special topic today. So the question was advice for work, career, and life purpose. All right, so if we're looking at all of those things, and I'll break them down a little bit later, but when it comes to work so far, what I'm seeing here is you stepping into a role of empowerment, right? And maybe getting out of the current work situation or job situation. The same thing is true for life purpose. It's saying, I'm not going to give my power, energy, or resources to someone else. I'm going to do this on my own. Some of you may be getting out of a relationship and you're deciding just to kind of be on your own for a while. Good for you. Or you're deciding to talk to your partner about power dynamics and making sure that the two of you are on even footing, to make sure that your boss, your partner, or whoever it is that's in the environment is accountable for what they said they would do for you. And if not, then you're going to do that on your own. The main thing here is not fearing rejection or taking a path of independence. The next leg of the journey for you is going to be one where you might be the leader of the pack. There may not be someone, shoulder to shoulder with you. You're a little bit ahead, and you may be alone for a short time, but not for long, because we have the King of Pentacles at the end of this spread, which is saying someone's going to meet you with resources, someone's going to see your worth, someone's going to want what you have to offer. So don't be afraid to stand up for yourself or to separate from someone or something, because in that independence, in that space, comes the understanding that there is, again, something greater. So this is a card of leading, of entrepreneurial sort of energy. And this is one of business and basically saying, I'm going to do something for myself, going back to school, again, putting something out there into the world. So whether it's a product or a book or a service, I think a lot of you have this sort of entrepreneurial energy that's coming through, which is really, really cool as well. Even if you're not, what I'm seeing is you're wanting to take a little bit more of a leadership stance. So the next job or the next opportunity that comes along, you have more autonomy, more of a voice, and you feel more connected to this. Because one thing that I'm seeing here is someone or something that's not letting you flex your energy in the way that it should be flexed. Well, let's expand this forecast. This is going to help us see the whole Ace of Pentacles, the whole opportunity from a different perspective. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and break down each one of these in respect to the special topic today, which is how can you find your path or find your purpose? So let's begin with health. Health, again, I'm going to be looking at opportunities to live a healthier, happier life. But when it comes to anything that's going on in your body, or maybe even just, sort of like mental health, you'll obviously work with a professional for that. But when it comes to energetic opportunities, I'm here to help you with that. All right, so let's take a look at your oracle card for health this month. We have the Eagle Spirit, Freedom, nicely connecting to the energy of the dove, where I was showing spread your wings, right? And we see even like Pegasus down there in the horizon down there at the bottom. So with this is also the foil to the devil. So this is about limitations, and this is about removing those limitations. The reversal of this is maybe fear of taking the first step towards freedom or liberation. And so for many of you, remember that it's one step at a time. It starts in here. So you start with the understanding that I want more, this isn't enough, this isn't right, or I can do this. One of those thoughts, you're going to take that, like the Ace of Pentacles, and decide to do something with it. All of the ace cards represent potential, but they don't necessarily show that it's going to happen unless you act on it. So you're going to take the potential, you're going to take the thought, and you're going to say, all right, this is what I'm going to do to make it happen. And today, when you're listening to the reading, you're going to do one thing that brings it closer to fruition. Talk to someone about it, write it down, schedule something so that you have that connection that's happening out there. You're going to feed the intention, and that's going to help you. But the main thing that is coming through with respect to health is fewer limits, more opportunity, more freedom, the freedom to explore. And for some of you, that's going to require changing up your location. So maybe taking a trip, maybe moving, maybe going into a place where the people around you are a little bit more open. So again, that might be moving to a different city or a different country, etc. Let's go ahead and look at all of the cards and see what's going on here. So looking at it just from a health perspective, there's something going on in the environment, because that's where the Devil card is, that could be counterproductive for you. So if that is bad work situation, a family situation that's limiting you, someone around you that just is in a really sort of darker place, what you need to do in this moment is decide, how much can I help them? Have I done enough? Is this limiting my potential to do other things? And you remember, you don't have to fix everybody in your life, particularly when it just comes, even if it's family members, even if it's a parent, or if it's, a sibling, they have to be willing and ready to receive the help. And then if they aren't, there's only so much you can do. When it comes to work situations, when it comes to other people around you, there definitely is only so much that you can do to have an effect on that. Basically, what I'm seeing here is a push to rise above and to explore other things that are going on with health. If you are ready to move past something that's limiting you, it could be an addiction, it could be a limiting thought, could be environmentally something that doesn't work, definitely move away from that. I see moving as being the key to success for many of you. Focusing on just general happiness and anything that's going on with respect to how you're managing your stress, because stress does affect the heart. Again, I'm not a doctor, but we all know that it can increase blood pressure. It has an effect on the heart space as well. So us finding a way to be happy and to live a healthier life is going to be important with respect to that. For many of you, there's an encouragement to get out a little bit more. I see that, a lot of us over the past couple of years have had to live within the energy of the hermit. But what we see here is travel, expansion, exploring, whatever is good for you and your comfort level with getting out. But this is basically finding a way to get back out into the world a bit. That's going to help you as well. And those are the main energies that I'm seeing. There is a lot of sort of compression around the heart space. So this could be fear, this could be anxiety, this could be sadness, whatever it is for you that you could do to kind of open the heart center would be great. Yoga is a great way to also open up the heart space, and exercise, because you get the blood flowing and you break through some of that energy. Obviously, again, whenever you change your exercise routine, you want to talk to your doctor, but looking at an energetic shift, that would be a very good thing. Let me see if there's anything else. I'm actually getting a really big activation on the crown chakra as we're talking. And if we connect that to this, for some of you, there just may be a fear of opening up. And one thing that I always like to remind folks when we're looking at intuitive development is to set intention. So if you set intention to open up to the highest good, to allow yourself to just explore where growth potential is, you don't have anything to be afraid of. So don't fear the unknown. When you kind of enter into a path that is unexplored, use the light that you discovered as the hermit to shine onto this. You're ready for whatever comes across your path. This is limits from the past, and you don't need to focus on that so much anymore. All right, I think that's it for health. The main thing here is you need opportunities in your life that present more freedom and more flexibility. All right, let's look at wealth here. We have the Warrior card here, and this one almost reminds me of a King or a Queen of Swords in reverse, because this warrior is holding a spear. It says, "Be fearless and stand strong." I think this is a really nice connection to what we had here. So in the recent past, we have the King of Swords. We have a different interpretation of what a King of Swords might look like. Also reversed, coming through in work, saying it's important in this moment for you to speak your mind, for you to put it down on paper, for you to fight for what's right. So King of Swords, by the way, can indicate a lawyer or a contract or legal action. So if there's something that's not right, then it's time to speak up. You could help affect change with respect to that. This is also saying that your voice matters. If there's anyone in your life that tries to silence that voice, no longer. You have something worth saying, and fight to be heard, fight for what's right, and this is your moment to shine, okay? Other messages with respect to work and life purpose here. First of all, again, I think for some of you, you may need to try to, if this is a product or a service or something that you're trying to get picked up, try putting it in a different market. You'll see this a lot of times with either authors or musicians or movies in general. Sometimes one market accepts them and it kind of virally takes off there, and then eventually it will find its way to wherever that person lives, whether it's here in the States or in Europe or whatever. Sometimes you have to go outside of your own home vicinity and achieve success elsewhere. So don't be afraid to go beyond the limitations of the people around you or even the country around you, because you may have global or international success with something before you find it domestically, okay? Let me see what else is coming through with respect to career. It's time to advocate for much more. So again, we talked about giving away or accepting less than what is necessary. No more. You're going to speak up and advocate for much more, and you can get that. You have to see it first, and you have to believe it. So I love that this King of Pentacles has a big old star, a big old coin right between the two horns there, basically saying, I'm holding my value here, front and center. And I see it, I believe it, and if you don't, I'm going to go somewhere else where the person's picking up on it. But just like a big Ace of Cups, that is showing that you have to hold the value in your energy. So I think the big opportunity for you is to see the value, demand the value, and wait for that value to be received in the appropriate sort of way, shape, or form. Okay? Looking again at the catalysts, one of the big things that's coming through for you is the ability to hold your own, to look someone face to face and have a conversation, and to understand that you're where you need to be. All things flow to this moment in time, and this is just your chance to sort of really own and redirect where you're headed. You have to fight for something if you really, really want it. Those Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, all the aces require investment. And this is saying you can get what you want, but you're really going to have to consistently show up. And you might have to push a little harder than other people because of prejudice or, just people around you that are making it a little bit more difficult, but it's going to make it all the sweeter in the long run when you achieve what you set out to do. So the universe is kind of just putting up some tests and saying, are you sure? Are you really sure? And if you keep pushing through some of those boundaries, you're going to get it. But there is a little bit of, for some of you, this is coming because of where you live, where you work, or where you went to school. There's a little bit of environmental fear or anxiety that needs to be pushed through, or even, again, maybe some restrictions. And that's why a move or a change of location would be advantageous, because it's going to allow you to break through all of that. Okay, again, boss energy all over the place here. Look at how many court cards you've got. Queen of Wands, King of Pentacles, and King of Swords, plus we have the Emperor. All of those, and even the Hermit, they're all advanced cards showing leadership, authority. For some of you, you may need to get out of a certain situation, like a work situation, because it's top heavy. So that's one reason where growth might be inhibited. This could show like a glass ceiling, or some limitations on overall growth. And the main way to get out of that would just be to move somewhere else, transfer somewhere else. So movement in general is a key theme for today. And let me just see if there's anything else. I'm going to look again at the overarching title here. So when we're looking at Ace of Pentacles, advice for work, career, and life. Life purpose. Again, with the life purpose portion of this, it is about finding your voice, using your voice, and using your leadership in a way that is going to help others and inspire others. You're the sun, you're the star. You're not seeking that sort of light or energy from others. Let's move on to love and relationships. We have intuition and downloads. The main message here is it's time to find people on the same mental wavelength as you. If in the past you continued to try to like change people's minds or put up with an energy of resistance constantly in the environment or in the people that you partnered up with, this is saying you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to prove who you are. You don't have to justify who you are, and you don't have to change who you are. This is about finding, again, unconditional love and people that receive exactly what it is that you're kind of on the same wavelength, basically. So let's look at this in respect to all the different relationships. We're going to look at existing relationships, those of you that are seeking a relationship, or those of you that are already, or those that are single and happy, rather. If you're in an existing relationship, this includes business partnerships because we're looking through the lens of career and work and life purpose. I do feel that for many of you, there is an existing relationship that served its higher purpose. So we see two cards here that I would associate with a time to move on. This is either disappointment or limits. This is moving beyond that. For some of you, you could be sad that you couldn't control losing someone. This could be someone that left on their own volition, someone that passed, a parent or a loved one, or anyone in your life. And maybe there was even things left unsaid. The important thing here is that there's a lot more to do in your life. There's a lot more to give and to learn and to experience. So this was one stepping stone. This is one piece of it. But the main thing that I'm seeing for those of you that have moved through this already is there's a lot more ahead. For those of you that are still going through that, here's the important thing here. This is ultimately a power dynamic. And what's going on here is a tug of war between two people that are very headstrong. Can it be worked out? Yes, but a big change has to happen here. And you have to see each other as equals, because this is really what we see here is a very strong, headstrong person and a very sort of person that's connected to needing to see everything, needing proof. So this person is more in their head. This person wants to see things on paper. And I would say the sort of limitation here is that, as we talked about earlier, when you're really in your intuitive self and in your power, you're going to see and feel things before someone else can. And you can't always show it. You can't always explain it. So the important thing here is this kind of goes back to trust and to faith. And when you have the right kind of partnership, the person has trust and faith in your capacity and your vision, that you can do what you set out to do. And if that person in your life doesn't have that, there's almost like nothing. It goes back to the Five of Swords that we saw, I think it was for air signs. There's nothing that you can do to kind of like convey that to them. So understand that there are certain limits on how far a current relationship can go. If you're cool with those limits and you can work around them and navigate that's enough, that's fine. One thing that I'm seeing though with the Four of Pentacles, for some of you, is that the partner, let's see if I can still find it here. It's okay, you know what it looks like. That the partner isn't willing to give as much as you want them to give. Even with this, we can see that it's constricted or limited. So I think that for some of you, there needs to be either more than the partnership, because your partner isn't your end all be all. They are there to support you and to ultimately celebrate with you this journey. But there could either be some inner work that you need to do, or there might be something external that you can focus on that's going to provide fulfillment, or it's time to move beyond the partnership. Something more than the partnership is what I'm seeing is important for existing relationships. Okay, so you can decide whether you've just been putting too much energy into the partnership, or whether you've moved beyond that, or whether there's something else altogether that you need to be focusing on, okay? And that, I think, is everything with respect to existing relationships. Let's go ahead and focus on those of you that are single and looking. I think the main thing for you right now is something needs to be cleared in the environment. There's a little bit of internal healing to be done. Let the dust settle because some of you are moving. By the way, when I was looking at partners, this could also be part of it. There could be long distance, there could be distance in general, or one of you is kind of not ready to show up the way you need to. But for those that are single and looking, I would say let the dust settle, move if you need to move, clear what needs to be cleared here emotionally and environmentally. And then I see more than one option on the horizon here. We have both fire and earth coming through. I see someone that's very sure of themselves, very demonstrative, and then we see someone else that's very career driven. The only thing that I would say with all of these is with the reversals of that, there's still a focus on internal development for those folks. So I still think that developmentally, there's some things that you could work on first. And I think that one thing that would be really good would be possibly traveling, exploring, or finishing something. If you've started it, like see it to completion, get a project done before you spend a lot of time and energy investing in a relationship. So it's kind of veering more like either fixing the existing relationships or clearing yourself and focusing kind of like what we're going to look at next, the single and happy piece. Single and happy, we see room for healing. I see great opportunities to set business and personal goals into a really nice trajectory. And I also see this sort of transformative energy. And I think that's really what's coming through with respect to relationships. If there's been any setbacks, any challenges, or any feelings like I'm limited, I wish I could do more, this is about seeing those limits and saying, I'm done with that. I'm open now to explore new things. I'm more than that sort of experience in the past. So this is all about opening up. The partners that may be coming in or may already exist, they're either going to go with this energetic change or flow, or they're going to transition out. And we always have that option when we meet someone. As we go up to the next level, they either come up or they drop out. Sometimes they're ahead of us a little bit and we have the same choice. But I see many of you on this upgrade process where you're kind of waiting it out for a half step to see if your partners are there with you. And for many of you, it'll even out. But if they don't kind of reach up in the same energy as you, then you have to think, is this worth it, right? Okay. One other thing that I have to talk about, and this is for those that are in a relationship or looking for a relationship. For those that are in a relationship, there could be a third party coming in. And again, this is a chance for you and your partner have to remind one another that the family and the connection is the two of you. So whether it's a friend or an in-law or someone else that really doesn't have a time or a place to be in this sort of relationship, you have to have better boundaries, right? It can also be a third party that's coming in and could represent temptation or that question of like, are we still together for the right reasons? The good news is if you can face this test and get through it, then we still have 2 court cards here in opportunities and outcomes. So there's possibility for everything to work out, but you have to work through healing. You have to work through this potential temptation or block, and there may be a distance component as well for some of you. And these are tests. And if you get through all those tests, then you're good to go. Every relationship has tests, and you just have to kind of look at those. All right. That's everything with respect to current relationships. Let's look at your destiny card. And we have Odin coming through, one of the best cards here with respect to destiny. It says, your third eye is open. See the truth for what it is. Follow your intuition. He's also connected with the Hangman. So many of you are being asked to take a pause before you go into the next leg of this journey, of this exploration of your life, and decide, what have I gotten so far out of this? What do I hope to achieve next? And is there anything that I'm being shown or that I'm dreaming about that I haven't had a chance to explore? I always like to talk about, like if you have any regrets or if you have any wishes, use those as tomorrow's goals. Don't go to sleep tonight with any regrets. Put down a list of things that you're going to work on so that you can experience the next day without those regrets. Take a regret, make it a goal. Take a wish, make it a goal as well. and take any missed experience or missed opportunity and decide that tomorrow or today that you're going to do better, that you're going to give that a shot. All right, so that's kind of the homework assignment right now, and that's when we look back at the beginning of this forecast. When I was looking at the 7 days, we had justice, right, coming through for Sunday. So it's all about setting into balance. What do I want? What do I need? What isn't working? And how am I going to make that different? Or what am I going to do differently this week? Okay. So let's move next into, we'll pull one card for the big idea. And actually for the big idea, we're going to separate it out, and then I'll take a look at the reader's choice here. So I'm doing it in a different order for today. So for the big idea, it's one card that's going to help you on the trajectory of figuring out what's going on with respect to the Ace of Pentacles. So this is, I think it's going to be just what's the purpose, what's the focus, because we're looking at those 3 areas for work, career, and life purpose. Work and career kind of go together. I'll pull 2 cards for this. We're going to look at work, career as one, and life purpose as a second one. All right. So looking at work and career, we have Queen of Swords reversed. And when we look at life purpose, we have the Wheel of Fortune. All right. So great energies overall. So work and career, again, taking action, using your communication skills, writing it down, sharing this with others, teaching, speaking, all of those are coming through. It's your voice that is the most important thing. Your voice, your message, or your actions. Okay, so that could take so many forms. Actions could be, getting involved in the community, getting involved with changing policies, getting involved with changing laws, speaking up, speaking out, teaching. But it is about communication and action. So that is what's coming through for work and career. For your life purpose, with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, it's a change in direction. Chasing your dreams, we have the dream catcher here. And also taking control of money and finance. So some of you may be more connected to doing something where this could be philanthropy, because Wheel of Fortune reverse can also be releasing funds and releasing resources. It could be deciding to do better with your money. It could also be deciding to advocate for more resources for yourself and others. It's bringing money in a different way, like bringing more into your life or helping people get those resources, opening it up. So open yourself up to receive more and realize that whatever this was, whatever this limitation from the past was, it no longer exists for you. This is all about expansion in this moment in time. All right, for the reader's choice, I'm going to do something unique today. Let me just go ahead and pull the graphic up so we know what we're focusing on next. But for the reader's choice, what I'd like to focus on is the one that didn't get it. Rising Star, step into your truth and power. So that was so close to tying up with today's choice that I want to pull a card for that. So what can you do? And it really is nice with the Emperor card and the Devil card. What can you do to regain power or to step into your power? So for that, we have the Son of Pentacles or the Knight of Pentacles. So with this, it's saying, I'm going to be bold. You're going to be bold, rather. And you're going to step forward and say, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to offer. It's an offering. So let me put it this way. If you had a chance to give something to the next generation, give something to your children or your grandchildren, we're talking legacy. What is your legacy? What is the thing that's going to be remembered when you leave this planet? We don't often think about that. We a lot of times are worried about paying our bills, meeting our deadlines, making our partner happy, making our teacher happy, just trying to achieve. But our lives on this planet, our souls are infinite, but our lifespan is finite. So when you step off this planet and you look back, it's kind of like, I was here, right? What is your I was here gift to the universe? Is it that you left the legacy of a family? There's children that are going to live past you. Is it some creative work? You wrote something, you created something. Did you change something that was broken? Maybe worked against, injustice or prejudice or bigotry. Did you leave a gift of knowledge for someone? Again, a teaching, something in a book, something in a movie. What is it that you want to do so that you are remembered or that you feel like I made a difference? That is the most important thing, possibly in this whole reading, that is going to help you not only ignite the Ace of Pentacles, but also find the courage to move forward on whatever your dream or your goal is. You have that potential, and I think the main reason that we're all showing up today is to feel that sort of confidence, inspiration, and to be emboldened to just take a step today. So today, take a step in the right direction and put an offer out there somehow, some shape, some form, whether it's saying, you know, you're putting your resume into consideration for a job. You're reaching out to someone and asking them if they want to hang out. You're working on yourself. You're putting an application maybe to go to school somewhere or something. Somehow you're moving the needle forward and saying, I want this and I'm willing to try. I'm willing to put myself out there and risk rejection, but also risk success. Nights move the needle forward, and this particular night is saying, let's do this. We're starting to see just the beginning of what's going to happen here, where sooner or later others are going to see that. But today, really work on self-worth, and I think we can focus on that when we start to do the meditation. And that's a nice segue into where we're at right now. By the way, we've finished all the main portions here. We're going to now focus on, I think, one of the most powerful pieces, which is we'll meditate together. We'll remove blocks as we do the meditation and open up to that Ace of Pentacles. And then I will take a look at the final card. And the final card can be any question that has, as of yet, remained unanswered. So write it down or just keep it in your mind and your heart while we're meditating. And then I'll pull a card at the end to help answer that. But first things first, let's meditate together. So take a moment to get comfortably seated, as I am, and close your eyes, and I'd like you to tune into your body. See if, as you take this first deep breath, if there's anything that you're feeling a blockage in. Maybe you're feeling tenseness in the shoulders or the neck. Maybe you're just having a lot of thoughts go through your head. Maybe your heart is where you want to see the opening happen. Wherever this is, I want you to, as you breathe in this first breath, imagine that you are breathing in the light of the sun, and that golden energy is going into your mind, your body, and your spirit, and it's going to break up any of these blockages, any of the darker areas that might have settled in energetically. So together, let's take a nice deep breath. And with a breath of fire, push away those blockages, allowing your body, your mind, and your spirit to feel lighter, brighter, and freer. Continue to take these deep breaths with me. Really exhaling and allowing yourself to even feel a little bit lightheaded for a moment as you're starting to open up. And now with each breath that you take, bring it back a little bit closer to normal breathing, and maybe even lay down or just relax as we set the scene for the meditation. So a big part of what we saw today was about movement. So I think for the first part of this journey, you could imagine that you are setting sail. So imagine that there is a ship on the harbor, kind of like what you would see with the Three of Wands. You see this beautiful pier, there's a nice ship there, and you're going to walk out and meet that ship. Someone reaches out a hand and pulls you onto the main part of the ship, and all you need to do now is to accept that hand. And as you do, you feel this sense of, it's almost like riding a roller coaster. You realize this isn't just a hand from some random person. This is like a spirit guide or an angel. And as you accept the invitation, you realize this isn't just a ship, this is your life. This is a journey that you are going to step into, a new part of this journey. And now as you're on this ship, you see yourself sailing across energy, not the water, but like these fields of energy. And all you need to do as you kind of sail across this is set some expectations. The guide asks you, what next? Where would you like to go? In your mind and in your heart, tune in for a second. Where would you like to go? What would you like to see? And then the guide hands you a single token, a coin, an Ace of Pentacles, and it says, plant this energy, plant this seed or this wish in your heart. Your wish is granted. Your dream is possible. So take this Ace of Pentacles, place it in your heart, close your eyes, and the guide whispers, see yourself there. And when you open your eyes next, you're going to see yourself in that future state. Imagine now that you are where you intend to be. Maybe it's in a partnership, maybe it's in a job, maybe it's having healed or moved through a difficult point in your life. Feel in that moment how good it is to have accomplished the goal or dream, even though right now you're still in the inception part where you're dreaming that it's possible. Imagine that there is a future state of you that's accomplished it, that's communicating to you and saying, it's worth the work. It is possible. Don't give up. And imagine that the future you is reaching towards you and you're reaching towards that. And you're going to get a little closer to that future you as we meditate and as you listen to the singing bowl. So just allow yourself to be pulled like the sun pulls a comet, and allow this to bring the trajectory, the speed, and the momentum a little bit closer to your dream. So by the end of this meditation, you will have unlocked a fear or a doubt. It's not going to be there anymore. You're going to get closer to the dream because it's possible. And that's what your guide says. That's what your higher self said. And that's the whole purpose of today's reading. Okay? Keep breathing, keep believing, and let me pull the singing bowl closer and we're going to meditate together. Imagine that that seed of possibility that you placed in your heart center is shining brightly. Say to yourself, I am ready, I am worthy, and I am willing to move towards this dream or towards this vision. See your heart start to light up with this beautiful golden light, rays outstretching in each and every direction. With each breath, with each heartbeat, you are closer to that goal, that dream, and you are closer to achieving what you set out to achieve. All right, I'd like you to focus now on your final question that you have for me. This can be whatever crosses your mind, whatever we haven't had a chance yet to focus on. Let's go ahead and shuffle the cards and see what's coming through. We have the beautiful Three of Cups, which is a celebratory card. It is a yes. So the Three of Cups usually shows good news. It can be a new person. It can be new opportunities coming into your life. And generally speaking, it would be a yes to a yes/no. For love, it indicates, again, partnership or love, but it's the beginning stages of these things. The only thing that's kind of interesting with the Three of Cups upright is it does represent a trial of patience, because it takes time. This is more of a courtship card, not necessarily about someone signing a contract or agreeing to something. They want to see what you have to show. They want to see what they want. There's a little bit of a dance here. So a back and forth. So when it comes to something new, you give a little bit, they give a little bit. You show a little bit, they show a little bit. And so be willing to do that dance. This can also represent good word of mouth. And so the way to find the next big thing in your life could be through positive feedback, people talking favorably about you, and likewise, you could meet someone through the grapevine. So this is very much the grapevine or social networking. And so this is also a really good time to get out there and to network. And we saw a lot of those cards when we were looking at the 7-day forecast as well. Ultimately, there's really not much negative with the Three of Cups when we're just pulling it in the final card. I would say for most, the biggest sort of thing that could be challenging again would be trying to get someone to commit definitively, because this is not a definitive card. This is more of an exploratory card. So give people time and space to figure out what they want. Make sure that you figure out what you want. And I think that that will set everything in a good direction. Okay. The only thing that I would say with this, obviously, is to avoid gossip or sharing anything that you don't want to be shared with others, because this is a very conversational card. So be mindful of that. All right, that does bring us to the conclusion of this reading. I hope you enjoyed it today. It's always my pleasure, my honor to be here. If you enjoyed any part of this, please hit the subscribe button, the like, the bell icon. Know that this not only helps the channel, but it also is going to keep you informed and connected whenever I release a new video or do a live stream or a live premiere. So thank you in advance. You can also follow me across social media. It's just my name, at Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all major platforms, and Ashbaugh on Twitter. Remember that I don't give private readings and I don't use direct message, so avoid anybody that's doing that. That's not me. And thank you. Both Dakota and I have been thanking people in real time here, but thank you so much for all of you that gave back here with Super Chats, Super Stickers, memberships, or gifted memberships. It makes a big impact. And I'll start doing in the future here some membership-specific videos as well, because we now have enough to make that a possibility. So thank you to everybody, especially last weekend. We had a lot of new members join. So thank you so much for that and for the gifted memberships. It does make a difference here. Finally, just thanks to all of you for showing up and for making this such a really cool part of every week. It's my favorite way to start off the week, and I know a lot of you enjoy showing up here. So from my heart to yours, thank you so much. Also, thank you for being patient. Again, I'm hoping within a month's time, hopefully by the US Thanksgiving, by the end of next month, I should be in a new space. I'm working hard to manifest that and find the right place. But in the meantime, I appreciate all the patience with the technical issues that I've had while I'm in between apartments. So lots of love and light to all of you for being appreciative. Also, thanks to Dakota for his help moderating and helping with time codes and everything like that. I appreciate it. All right, everyone, have a great week ahead. I will see you every Monday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday for all of these premieres, every day for the one card readings. And don't forget, we're going to be doing a special Halloween topical forecast on the 31st. So more to come when I get closer to that. It's always one of my favorite readings of the year. So I can't wait to be there with all of you on Halloween. All right. Take care, everyone. Lots of love and light. I'll see you soon. Make today a great day. Bye-bye.